Have you ever woken up feeling completely drained, asking yourself, am I just burned out, or am I actually depressed? It's a question many people quietly struggle with, and the answer isn't always clear. In today's video, we'll untangle the psychology of burnout versus depression, two conditions that often look alike but are not the same. By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot the key differences between burnout and depression, understand how each impacts your brain and body, and learn practical steps for recovery. What you're about to discover could change the way you see yourself, your work, and your mental health. Burnout, officially recognized by the WHO as an occupational phenomenon, caused by chronic workplace stress. Depression, a clinical mental health disorder recognized in the DSM-5, going beyond work into every area of life. Burnout is situational, depression is pervasive. Analogy: burnout is like being lost in thick fog at sea during a long voyage. Depression is like the ocean itself turning dark. But knowing the definitions isn't enough. You need to see how they feel in real life. Story of Amira, a young professional, starts with enthusiasm at her job, working late hours. Over time, exhaustion, irritability, and cynicism take over, classic burnout signs. But when she begins losing interest in hobbies, withdrawing from friends, and experiencing deep sadness unrelated to work, it points toward depression. This story illustrates the overlap, but also the important distinctions. So how do we break them apart clearly? Let's use psychology and neuroscience as our compass. Burnout symptoms: fatigue tied to work, irritability at job, decreased performance, detachment from tasks. Depression symptoms: persistent sadness, feelings of worthlessness, sleep, appetite changes, hopelessness, loss of interest in all areas. Neuroscience: burnout often linked with stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. Depression involves neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. DSM-5 criteria for depression: at least 2 weeks of symptoms across multiple domains. ENS doesn't always make it simple, because the two often overlap. Both cause exhaustion, emotional numbness, concentration problems. Both can trigger sleep disruption and physical health issues. Research shows prolonged burnout can evolve into depression if left unaddressed. Analogy: burnout is the warning light on the ship's dashboard, depression is the engine breaking down. Understanding overlap is important, but so is tracing the causes. Where do they really come from? Burnout causes: excessive workload, lack of control, poor work-life balance. Toxic work culture. Depression causes: genetics, brain chemistry, unresolved trauma, chronic stress. Sometimes triggered by burnout, but not always. Example: 2 people in the same job, one develops burnout and recovers with rest, the other develops depression because of deeper vulnerabilities. So if the causes differ, what about treatment? Burnout solutions: rest, boundaries, delegation, workplace changes. Vacations can help, but only if the environment improves long-term. Depression treatment: therapy, medication support systems, lifestyle interventions, exercise, sleep hygiene. Neuroscience note: antidepressants may restore balance in neurotransmitters, something rest alone can't always fix. So, if you're asking yourself, am I burned out, or am I depressed? How do you actually tell? Ask: do symptoms improve when away from work? Burnout. Ask: do symptoms persist across all areas of life, regardless of environment? Use journaling, mood tracking, or therapy to identify patterns. Remember, diagnosis requires professional evaluation. Burnout and depression look similar on the surface, but they are not the same storm. Burnout is exhaustion tied to specific conditions, often work. Depression is a deeper, more pervasive current that affects every aspect of life. The key takeaways: burnout is situational, depression is clinical. Burnout may be solved by rest and boundaries, depression usually requires therapy, support, or medical treatment. Both deserve compassion and care. This video is for education, not medical advice. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out to a professional or call your local crisis line, including the US 988 Suicide and AMP Crisis Lifeline. If this journey helped you navigate your own thoughts, consider subscribing and sharing your experience in the comments. You may help another voyager find their way. Anchor, this is Mindful Navigator, helping you chart your inner seas with science and self-kindness.